What's going on, everybody? This is a very rudely interrupted segment of Party Nerds News because today, Ant-Man 3 trailer, Quantumania, has just dropped. And fortunately for us comic book nerds, this is like the Shangri-La moment. I mean, goddamn, Superman's coming back. Black Adam just hit movie theaters last week. But today, we are talking about Ant-Man 3 because it is the introduction of the big bad in this whole series of phases that are going to be following us for the next few years in phase 5 and 6, and that's Kang the Conqueror. So the last time that we saw him, no, we did not see Kang. We saw He Who Remains. So this is entirely the first appearance of Kang the Conqueror. So I am joined here by my boy Jorge Vergara.
Hey, what's up, man? We have a lot to discuss about this, especially trailer.
Look, like I said, it is a great day to be a comic book nerd.
That's right, man.
It's a
That's
great
a good thing. Yeah,
it's a great day. So the first reactions from this trailer are amazing. I mean, goddamn, I didn't know Peyton Reed, the director of this movie and the director of the past few Ant-Mans, could do shit like this. But this looks dope. Like on a cosmic level, this is what I've always wanted. So when we're looking at the cusp of this, we have to kind of like go back a little bit to see exactly how we've gotten to this point. So if we remember from Avengers Endgame, and basically we could start right here from where the van, Lewis's van, which has been a catalyst for a lot of shit.
that's right.
Lewis's, you know what I'm saying? Look, the van is a perfect piece.
And his group of bandits.
My God, look, the time heist of all time heists, but the van that basically brought everybody to the quantum realm in the first place in order to start the time heist, brought everybody to the quantum realm where we knew that 5 minutes in regular Earth was pretty much like a slow down and elongated timeline for a lot of other people. So Scott being trapped in the quantum realm and understanding how time constructs itself throughout that place. And no, he's not the smartest person in the world, but it's kind of like dumbed down to the point where he can figure it out. So we're looking at it from that aspect. If you remember from, there was a lot of YouTube videos about it. Everybody was trying to discuss that when the rescue of Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym, getting out of the van for the very first time after everybody got snapped. Everybody was kind of like pointing to the city that was like off on the edge of the map before they got snatched up. It was like there was a city inside the quantum realm and nobody knew what that was. Everybody was kind of like alluding to the Micronauts and the microverse, like that, like basically the quantum realm is here and the microverse is going to be over there. But necessarily because of their joint agreement with Hasbro, I wouldn't necessarily suspect that the Micronauts would even make some type of appearance.
Wait, there's a conflict?
Well, no, I would think it would be like a money issue. You know, if Hasbro is holding joint ownership of the Micronauts, and yeah, they are a Marvel property.
Oh, then, they bought it back when Marvel was broke, right?
Like I said, they got rid of tons of entities. You know, yes. Being like Hulk going to Universal and Spider-Man going to Sony. You know, Micronauts was always with Hasbro. They sold the toys. Those the old Micronauts toys from the 80s. That was their thing, but they were still a Marvel property. They would still do the comics and everything like that. So people had this theory that was it. But more so, I think because of this trailer, what we basically saw for the first time and what we're going to see in this movie is Chronopolis, which is the city headquarters of Kang the Conqueror.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's the way it's described. And no, I had to go back to like the Avengers Annual Volume 1 from like 1992. And it's located on the outskirts of timeless limbo with access points to all time eras that Kang has conquered himself. So Kang's Citadel is in there. It's harboring up every timeline that he's conquered. He pretty much traps it and makes it an easy access point to where he can get to it and then he provides connectivity to all the timelines that he's taken over himself,
No, that makes
all
sense.
within this bubble.
Wow. It's like
So like
you like save your game and you load your game. You know,
it,
we last left off.
pretty much, it's like a video game. Like I conquer it, I save it. This is my access point. I put my memory card in. It's already set for me. You know
So
what I'm
this is the
saying?
last time you played video games, a memory card.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that. I haven't played video games in a very long time. but it's described. Kang Citadel is there, of course. For anybody who knows that from the comics. Each block goes on to the ends of the earth itself and the time period that it defines. So let's go back to Ant-Man 1, when Scott figured out how to basically like discharge the clip and basically get smaller and smaller and smaller. It may have looked like he was getting smaller, like, you know, like, but he was going into different realms that were located on Earth, to the point where he had no idea where he was. This was his first experimentation with it, all within the climax of Ant-Man 1. So he knows what this place is. Remember, he tried his damnedest to try and speak to it and tell everybody exactly what it was in Endgame, and everybody thought he was a fucking nutcase. But there's a portion in time, and I remember Hank telling him about the quantum realm, that, you know, you could get stuck just like Janet, you know, if you don't find your way out. Chronopolis also has those same type of, you know, constructions. There's hidden portals that if you don't know where they are, you could just be stuck on like a block in Chronopolis and wander there forever.
Wow. Boy, so is there, all right, you said that to get to the quantum realm, you just have to get smaller and smaller, but there's no actual gateway to get in there. Basically, you just have to get really small and you end up in some form of quantum realm, right?
Yeah, because if you remember like those nature shows, like they'll show like the DNA of a leaf, and it's like they'll go through like microscopic levels. You could see the leaf and you know of its genetic makeup and its formation. And then the smaller and smaller and smaller that you look into it, the microscope gets deeper into the leaf. You can actually see like the veins pumping in it with chlorophyll or whatever its definition is. So it's kind of like that type of aspect, but only this realm is basically living right here on Earth. So it's like Kang now has like these access points to where he could just literally walk in and walk out.
Okay.
You know?
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then people, of course, will then start to ask, okay, they'll have the questions be like, okay, Janet's not telling us exactly what she knows, because she's been in there for a very long time. If she was in there from the 1960s, from what was it, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they found out that she was gone, or was it the first
Yeah.
one?
I thought it was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay, it might have been Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yeah.
but if that was the 1960s and she didn't pop out until 2020 or whatever, 2018, 2019 or whatever it is, she was in there for a very, very long period of time. Now, in hindsight, our timeline would have been like, okay, that was like 60 years. And probably to someone like Janet in the quantum realm, she was probably there for close to 200 years, maybe
Damn.
3, 4. The thing is, she more than likely knows exactly who he is and what type of person he is and the timelines that he's conquered. And you see, like in those segments in the trailer, she's putting her hood up. She doesn't want people to know who she is. So is it like going to come to pass that she was married to Kang at some point?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure they.
You know, he was like, "Oh, that's my ex-wife walking around here. Hold on." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it might be one of those type of things to where it's like she understands who that person is. She's been in there long enough. She might have just gave up, started to live her life. And then there's this Bill Murray character, which is like a secret character that's essentially going to be a villain in this story too.
Who is he?
But that's the thing. We just basically brought up this whole thing to where the Micronauts are not like basically a part of this, but in essentially like could he be the leader of the Micronauts and understand the microverse, and maybe there's a way to get even smaller to get out. Like if he's like a key or a gatekeeper or anything like that to get out, maybe
Oh,
that's what it is.
I hope he's not like a goddamn bone collector, like in
Uh,
Guardians.
nah, I don't think that. But the elders of the universe tend to run a little bit amok amongst themselves. The collector is only one of them. There's tons. There's a slew of them. There's champion. There's the gardener. There's the collector. There's tons. But essentially, like it's crazy. Ant-Man has a trilogy before a lot of other big time comic book characters.
And the fact
Like,
that you said, even though Ant-Man, you consider him street level, or is he cosmic now?
I think Hank Pym was like one of the smartest characters in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Scott Lang is a mere thief. You know what I'm saying? And he's basically got the fucking like basically time heist cosmic conquest for dummies. And that's where we're going with Ant-Man 3. There's sequences in this movie where Scott looks like he got his ass beat the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially in this movie, you got Hank Pym, you got Janet Dine, you got Hope Van Dyne, you got Scott, but yet you have Cassie. So
Yes.
here we go with another young Avenger, like starting up the chain and seeing exactly what's going on because these seem to be the pieces. And if we remember from the end of the Loki series, there was the point where Kang said, I can't do this anymore. This game is for the young. So like we keep getting introduced to all these characters, and of course they are the young Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly did He Who Remains mean by that? And essentially, Kang has always said in the comics that he always has time. He's a very patient person, although he's this cosmic entity, but he's a mere man. But essentially, you're looking at it from the time frame of, did he just wait for He Who Remains to pass on from this earth because maybe it was the only person that could defeat him? Or was it that he was trapped? Maybe He Who Remains was the only key to the timeline that broke, that basically enabled Chronopolis to open up and for Kang to basically start conquering timelines all over again.
Mm.
So like, it's like, if you look at it, Kang's like first conversation with Ant-Man, where Ant-Man's telling him, hey, I'm an Avenger. And he was like, did I kill you before? So like, so first off, like, that's got to be like instant confusion. He was like, well, what the fuck does this guy mean? And this is where I think the multiverse, of course, comes at play, to where you have somebody who has already killed a ton of Avengers. He already knows about them. He knows about their variants. The TVA is now in his control. So it's like, I can fuck with timelines as much as I want. It was like, you do realize I can go to the point before you, your mother and your father even met, and I can fuck that up, and you cannot even be here.
Wow.
Like, he has that type of ability. And, I remember him being viewed as like this quirky, weird, like, type of character in like the early comics. They didn't make him more serious until like the 90s. And they started to give him a little bit of depth and a lot more origin. So a place like Chronopolis being harbored in the quantum realm is just going to be like cool as fuck. But the thing is, the whole point of Ant-Man 3 is that Kang has to be like let loose like a dog. Like, if he's the next big bad, like, remember we were just talking about the last video that we did, how we had this 10-year lead up to Thanos.
Yep.
And that you only saw peekaboo instances of him throughout like all these movies. I think with Ant-Man 3, it's like the first time that, we see Kang for the first time, and he has a face-to-face with an Avenger very early in the phases.
Mm-hmm.
And then yet you're going to have him pretty much reveal himself to a lot of other characters throughout the timeline, regardless of who they are, because he's killed Avengers before. He's done this shit. He's been to other timelines. When we see Multiverse of Madness, where they were going through realms, America Chavez had the ability to basically do interdimensional traveling.
Yep.
So like there's other realms out there, there's other Avengers in every single realm. The Illuminati might be here, the X-Men might be here, there's mutants over here. He knows about everything.
Wow.
So like that's the thing. The one connectivity point that had to show up in all these movies was him. Because you're like, okay, the Doctor Strange of this Earth and the Doctor Strange of that Earth, there you have the Illuminati here, so that means that mutants do exist. But we also got our first introduction to mutants in like the Miss Marvel series, because Miss Marvel's now a mutant, and pretty much Professor Xavier was revealed in another timeline. So the thing is, like, the X-Men might be a whole different team when they're introduced, but Kang knows about all of it. So it's so when we get to like the Avengers, Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, Multiversal Saga, all that stuff, he's pulling the strings
all along.
He's pulling all the strings.
Yeah. So how the hell do you defeat him?
That's the thing. This might be like, I believe that Marvel has tried to reveal itself in figuring out ways to introduce a lot more cosmic entities, cosmic beings, so on and so forth. If somebody is trying to disrupt and conquer timelines, whether they're primitive or more advanced, maybe the foothold in all this, because I think in the Thor Love and Thunder series, we got introduced to eternity. So like you had the ability to have a wish granted to you for the very first time from this cosmic entity. There's always somebody that's above all of it. If like an entity that's above all of it, the one above all, the beyonder, like chaos, the in-betweener, like all these cosmic entities in the Marvel universe. They've not really mentioned the ways and the means to introduce them in some way, because they felt like it was too OP, and it was like, if this person could snap their fingers and change everything, that'd be a stupid movie.
What about the Eternals, the Celestials? What is
that's the thing, so we have a very OP crew, and the thing is, there's way more Eternals out there than what we saw on screen. Now they have the introduction of Thanos' brother, Arrow, Star Fox. Mm-hmm. So if the Eternals are now a pivotal point in this, and the Celestials are now at play, because they are the creators of the universe, this person just manipulates timelines. We have an interdimensional battle happening here. Secret Wars might be more so about Kang than it is about the Skrulls and the Kree, like it was in the comics.
So how long till we see Galactus? We're heading there, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like now we have this rumor of another special presentation done by Marvel, because they feel as though they want to do these one shots now.
Why though? I mean, Werewolf by Night, that was so beautifully made, man. I was ready for a season 2 episode 2 until you told me, oh, these are just one-offs. Like, what?
Yeah, just one shots. So it's like, oh, now we have to play with the point to where, okay, if Feige's looking at the Disney Plus shows and he's figuring out a way to be like, okay, I don't need any of these filler shows, because it's not really going to build up any type of content for us going forth. If we can just basically display everything in one hit, like they were talking about Nova being a one shot as well. And the thing is, I kind of agree with that.
Why?
If it's like an hour-long one shot.
Okay.
Because the one thing that they never showed going from Infinity War to Endgame was the destruction of Xandar. And if there was one portion of Nova left, so what happens with the Nova Corps is that when one dies, everybody gets a little bit stronger until the last remaining portion of the Nova Corps. Like in the comics, it was Roman Die, which was I think he was played by John C. Reilly in the first Guardians movie.
Yeah.
So that character has like the Green Lantern moment where it goes to Earth and basically passes on the helmet to unsuspecting human being, and then that person becomes Nova. The first one being Richard Rider, then in Sam Alexander, those type of things. But like, I agree with that. If they tell that specific story, the destruction of Xandar, and how Nova basically how it gets passed to him. All they gotta do is end credits with the helmet being passed to the person that's going to be Nova. Done. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't got to do nothing else. That's your one shot.
That's right.
But now they're talking about Silver Surfer being a one shot as well, which I think I was like, okay, but how do you do it?
And what timeline, or is this going to be like in a distant future, distant time?
Yeah, because he's a cosmic being. But the thing is, before that, he was you can't really call him a humanoid alien. Norn Rad. His planet was about to get destroyed by Galactus, and he volunteered to be his herald, or better yet, if you want to call it that, his slave.
Mm-hmm.
And he became the messenger for Galactus going forth. So it's like that could be the storyline for Silver Surfer. They just might do origins.
I agree with the origin one-offs. That's perfect.
Yeah, it might just be origins.
Yeah,
straight to the point. Mm-hmm. Like here's the origin, done. Here's the origin for Nova, done.
And then throw him into a Secret War or another.
Because if you do these one shots, that means they exist in the MCU, which means they could pop up in any of these movies
or shows
to save it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm totally excited for Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, me too, man. I hope the guy comes back. What's his friend? The one that storyteller?
Lewis.
Yes.
Lewis is amazing.
He's a stable man. He's definitely got to be in the third one. Yeah,
he has to be the narrator for he could be the narrator for Phase 5 and Phase 6. I wouldn't even be mad at that. Like he could tell the stories from space. Like he could tell all that. You know what I'm saying? That'd be amazing.
That's right.
But yo, this is definitely looking forward to Ant-Man 3. So this is James Grandmaster Facts Boys, Jorge Vergara for the Party Nerds.
Let's go.
Are out.